It's only just now, sitting down to tape this and looking at the monitor, that I realize I am dressed like an athletic trainer, like an AD.
Or a Spirit Squad member.
That too.
Graduate student, though, for
Yes.
sure. For sure. Not an undergrad.
Hey.
It's a compliment. Big brain.
Welcome to the Elle Duncan Show. Is that what you're calling it? You're just clearly saying.
Student athletic trainer, Miss Duncan.
100%.
Nice.
I'm the head trainer. I've always got like
I mean,
an ace bandage in my pocket. I'm ready to go.
You are dripped up literally head to toe in red to black, red and black. Go Dogs. Roof, roof. Me too.
Let me tell you this. You're also wearing Sports Center colors, which are red and black. Coincidentally, let me tell you something. I'll address every one of these cameras in here.
There's a lot of them. Been a while since we've been in studio.
If you send me high quality athletic gear in the mail, there's a 100% chance I'm going to wear it, and I'm going to wear it and I'm going to love it. It is like my Paris fashion week.
That was free 99.
Yes. Thank you to Georgia for sending me this stuff.
What?
I will always wear it. By the way,
You
not
got
for
it
nothing.
from the school?
Not for nothing. Go Dogs. Do you know what I'm saying?
Damn.
Also, thank you to my agent for sending me these. I'm a basic person. I don't want you to send me couture. I want you to send me zip-ups and hoodies. Fleece line preferably, because it's Connecticut and we're cold.
And I mean, if you got a large laying around in a men's, you know what I'm saying? Holler at the kid. Sometimes I get a little puffy in the wintertime. Shoot the boy an extra large. Elle said there's a 100% chance she's going to wear it. There's also, if you don't mind, Elle, 100% chance her kid's snot's going to get on it immediately.
Yeah, right away.
If you can go ahead and zoom in on,
That is,
I don't know if that's X's or Eva's.
honestly, that's probably syrup.
A combination. Oh, a syrup. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, not snot. So we're good.
Oh, perfect.
So we're great.
Never mind. We're clean.
I can tell you nobody is going to send us any athletic gear from the teams that are about to roast.
Oh,
NFL
no.
Week 9. Are you ready to roast?
Yeah,
Are
I
you
am, but
ready
let's-
for some roasting?
Let's preface this by saying we got a lovely note from our lovely production team that was like, hey, we're going to get into these games, but let's take some jabs. Let's really get in on them.
Yeah.
I said, okay, we are reprieved of any sort of legal issues or trouble that we might stumble into.
What,
is all I'm going to say.
What are you?
I'm about to
what
say
did you write?
I don't know. This is a roast.
Oh, God.
This is a roast, and
Oh,
it's the
wow.
internet. You want me to start?
After you just blamed our entire team for what you're about to do? Sure.
Yeah. The Chiefs beat the Bucks in overtime. Still the only undefeated team in the league. If you are one of those praying for their downfall, for at least another week, they will make America wait again.
Oh, God.
It's election day.
Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson was benched for bailing on his team by being tired last week. And although Joe Flacco didn't quit in an abysmal offensive showing against the Vikings, it's clear his team quit on him and then ran over him with a bus. So much for that spark.
It's elderly abuse. This man is almost 40, okay? Dak was seen mouthing, "We effing suck" on the sidelines versus the Falcons. Well, Dak, if you actually did, at least you'd leave some Cowboys fans satisfied.
Oh, God.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
You can find the Cowboys fans in the Lakers jerseys.
Kirk Cousins has the Falcons swagging and surfing to the tune of first in the NFC South. It's as if drafting his replacement really irked him. So he whipped out his big Penix and marked his territory.
Ha! Different kind of whip. Yeah. Again,
Wait, his name is Penix,
that is true.
but I did say Penix.
But, well, same.
It fit the joke.
Oh, it fit the joke.
It slid right in there.
Kind of forced it in there, Elle.
All right.
Hey, oh, hey.
Hey-o.
On this election day, the country is at a crossroads for a new leader. Is Orange Man going back in? Are we getting our first woman president who grew up in a middle-class family? Neither! For the first time since 2016, a strong black man is the leader of DC. Thank you, Jaden Daniels. Less of a roast, more of an applause.
Yeah, we love you.
He's bipartisan.
The leader we need.
Yes, for sure.
It wasn't too bad.
I don't think
know
so.
why legal would need to get involved.
I don't know, Elle.
I
I
think you
get
vastly overestimated the provocativeness of your joke.
Elle, I get nervous. We were just hanging out with our big boss on Saturday. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Getting some FaceTime with
Yeah.
him. So if he's tuning into the program, I didn't write any of these.
Incredibly unlikely.
I was simply a surrogate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Everybody knows nobody puts Gary in the corner.
That's right.
Nobody.
I live in a circle.
I will say the one thing that Dak should have learned by now is that, like, you were the quarterback of the Cowboys. You've just been injured. there is always a camera trained on your face.
Facts.
And like you didn't even attempt to put your hand over your mouth or hide it. Like you don't even have to be a good lip reader to know what you said. We suck.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not wrong, but like you just need to have more awareness. And I say this as someone who...
Yo, Elle, you are the queen.
I tiptoe the line.
Tiptoe the line?
What do you mean?
So, okay, little peek behind the curtain. Everybody join me. Elle, obviously, queen of SportsCenter. And I've done a handful of SportsCenters with Elle. And usually we have a producer director in our ear telling us, hey, 30 seconds till we're back, 15 seconds till we're back. Elle has to have a 3, 2, 1 countdown.
Oh, yeah.
Till we're back, because
I'll just keep talking right up into it.
Not just talking with some choice 4-letter words. Yeah. Elle, you are the queen of F 3 2 F 1. Welcome back into SportsCenter. Elle Duncan, Kevin Nagandi back with you. Elle, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Like I won't.
Well, I mean, I don't just like rave the F word all the time, but like, no.
Do you know who you are?
I mean, I'm like, use it in a proper context. It's like hilarious
there's some in there. Sometimes there's some other 4-letter, like damn.
Yeah.
Other for the D word.
I don't care about any of that. I'm mostly concerned about like talking about somebody and that leaking.
Also, that's always on a hot mic. How are you not nervous though?
Well, because that's actually happened to me before.
What?
But what happened?
You haven't learned your lesson?
What happened was, so I'm doing radio. And when you do radio, back in Atlanta, there's a board op, and the board op like sits on the other side of, here behind a whole other part of glass, but not in our radio.
We can't see them, by the way. We can only hear them.
Right. In this radio station, the board op was like in the studio with you. They just sat on one side of the desk, you sat on the other. So anyway, I come in to say hello to a guy that was on the air, and the board op, not realizing that she was texting me, texts me talking about me.
About you? Oh, shoot.
She texts to me, Elle is so fake, because I like came in and was like, hey, everybody, so fake, I can't stand her.
Oh, no. Wait.
So I was like,
oh, this is good. Hold on.
So I was like, hey, girl, I'll just call her Nancy. Hey, Nancy.
I feel like her name's really Nancy.
Hey, Nancy.
And this is real quick on the air.
No, we are off air.
Okay, got it. Okay.
All of this is off air at this point.
Got
okay.
It.
Everything's off air. We're in a commercial break. And I was like, ooh, I don't think you meant to send this to me. I was like, I'm so fake, huh?
Oh, no.
And she was like, realizing that she's busted, she's like, well, yes, I did. And like, someone needs to say it to your face.
Whoa, double down on you?
Yeah. So I was like, okay. So we proceed to exchange pleasantries. I do the thing that you just said that I do, only at her.
Oh, nice.
And what I didn't realize at the time was, to get me into trouble, she turned the mics on.
No way.
The on-air mics on. So you just, over the air, you just hear me being like, and you.
Whoa.
And I didn't know.
No.
Yeah. So it went across air, and then I ended up getting suspended. We both got suspended. She got suspended because she put it on air.
Yeah.
And, I got suspended for not remembering that no matter the situation, if there is a mic around, it could be hot potentially. And you just need to watch your mouth. So.
Whoa.
I was like in the newspaper and everything.
Damn. So wait,
we've since squashed it. We're super cool.
Have you?
Yeah, it's been like a million years. And she's awesome, and like,
you mean that?
Yes.
Are you just saying that because we're in front of a hot mic? Are you just saying that because it's
no? I think it's a big person who apologizes. Like, she came to me years later and was like, it was like
years later?
such a something that I really just don't feel good about, and I'm really sorry that I did that. And I was like, same. I don't feel good about cussing out a coworker. Like, I've had colleagues that I don't get along with. I get along with most people, but I've had colleagues I don't get along with. I pride myself on being a bigger person too. So we both sort of squashed it, and we're like, hey, it was a low light of both of our careers, and we'll just, move on and keep it moving.
But you got some headlines out of it.
I mean,
and
sure.
Listen,
a blurb in the AJC.
Well, not for nothing. I am all for bringing back humiliation, bringing back shame, and just getting into straight up beef and like, yo, let's settle some stuff, whether verbally or, if we need to, physically.
Do you think that when Dak Prescott said we suck, like what he really meant was, good thing this hamstring injury happened now, because there is no hope for this season?
Straight up.
And I'm ready to put my feet up.
It's like, I'm not moving at all, but I am feeling this thing pull at me. Oh, the hamstring's not enough? What else can...
See.
My hand hurts too. damn, this damn hand, that was a must win.
Yeah.
In Atlanta.
Yeah.
And they did everything opposite. I mean, how bad is it that Ezekiel Elliott they don't have a running game. So everybody who can potentially run the rock has to be brought on this team flight. But he was left back reportedly, allegedly, because like he's habitually late to everything.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
He does not care.
Yeah, he has no interest in showing up. Allegedly, he comes late to practices or leaves early or just is sort of unbothered in general.
Straight up.
And honestly, he's playing that way.
Yeah,
I mean,
facts.
you know, there's the athlete that is not being used and still finds a way to try to contribute and says like, all right, I'll count my losses. This was a bad decision, but it's not like I had a whole bunch of places and choices to go to. So I came back to Dallas for a lot less money than, you know, would have essentially got me out of Dallas. And some people like do what Zeke's doing and say, I'm going to bail. And here's the thing is that like to each their own, I don't care. I would rather though someone like him than someone like a Derek Carr that I think we give a huge pass on. Listen, I think we give Derek Carr a really big pass for quitting on his team in the Raiders because he felt some kind of way and wasn't playing well. And now he's in New Orleans and it seemed great for a bit. And now the wheels have completely fallen off. I mean, you know, I am so here for the beef and we're going to get into the Michael Thomas and you know, beef. And I'm going to get your opinion on who you think is in the right here.
Is he finding his way down like this Antonio Brown path on Twitter and X in terms of him just like he's on the deep end with what he's accusing Derek Carr of and all this stuff and like this beef that we didn't know was really as profound as it is.
Well, that's a hell of a tease. We're going to get into that when we talk NFL beefs, which are coming up.
Look at us.
But first we want to react to some fantastic moments that happened over the socials.
I want to do that.
It's interesting because there's a couple of them that you didn't see, which is wild to me. When I imagine Gary Streisky, I just imagine you in some little social media dungeon. You've got multiple phones out. You're figuring out which ticks to talk. You want to know which reels are posting when. You've got this like scheduled. You're like the you know, the political dude on election night who's doing all the map guys. What's his name?
It's his cook.
Yeah, it's like his Super
King.
Bowl. Yeah.
Something King.
Sure.
I think you're talking about the CNN guy or the MSNBC
Yeah, the CNN guy.
Something King.
Yeah, and he's like
big Red Sox fan. Follows me on Twitter.
There we go.
Yeah.
He's wheeling. That's how I imagine you to be with socials. But there's a couple that you didn't see. Let's start with the ones you did. Everybody saw Saquon Barkley.
Yes. Amazing. Do you want to know how immature I am?
I mean, I already know.
You already know.
You mean like further evidence?
Just sort of like add it to the evidence. All right, when the authorities ask for it. I imagine Saquon Barkley leapfrogging backwards. Is it Jerry's Jones? Backwards, and then his booty right on top of Jones's helmet. And just what if Saquon farted at that moment?
Just let out a little
just
shoot.
like a boom.
I mean, it is a toe touch.
That'd be so funny.
He basically did like a Street Fighter, you know, herky.
Have to be so athletic
to do that backwards. It was wild.
It's insane. And of course, Nike wasted no time in making that an ad immediately. But for the people who can't read backwards, I don't know what it says. I think witness.
Okay.
SNED 2.
Oh, is that they played off the whole backwards thing? That's adorable.
Yeah,
we love
cool.
marketers.
It's cool.
Honestly, the marketers were really busy because Garrett Wilson 100% had the jump man.
Straight up.
Wild catch. You know, the one thing that's like, no matter what happens for the rest of OBJ's career, which looks to have ended.
Yes, correct.
He will always be.
He's still in the league, just in case anybody wants to know. He plays, or he is on the Dolphins.
Right.
He's a member of the Dolphins.
He is on the roster of the Miami Dolphins.
I almost said he plays for the Dolphins. No, this Joker is on the roster.
But no matter what he does from here on out for the rest of his life, because he did get a championship with the Rams, no matter what he does, he's always going to be the guy that we compare every one-handed catch to.
Correct.
I feel like there's some guy who's like an Uncle Rico in some like town in Idaho, and he's like, I was the first to get the one-handed catch. It wasn't OBJ.
Yeah.
Like he's so angry.
Everybody knows that.
He's like pissed because he's like it's like Dan Orlovsky when people still refer to him for going out of the back of the end zone. He's like, that's supposed to be Jimmy G's now. I passed that off to him
hold on.
like a curse.
Jimmy G did that?
Yeah, well, he stepped right out of the back. And his was more egregious than Dan's.
I remember.
He did like a 4-step like drop back into the...
I've missed a lot. For being such a social media savant.
Years ago.
I've missed much, Elle.
What do we think about the new trend of doing headstand celebrations? Can you do it?
Jalen Walthall from Incarnate Word, who caught that touchdown and was flagged for it, the referee is a straight up hater because that's one of the funniest, best, most on the spot He obviously planned that out. Something tells me it's from Fortnite. I don't know. It's so funny though. And it made its way into the NFL literally the next day. That's when you know you've caught fire on something. When Amon-Ra St. Brown and Drake London. And they were probably hollering at each other, a couple of USC guys like, yo, let's do this.
Yeah.
They didn't get flagged. Drake London's wasn't as clean because, listen, I'm not a gymnast or anything like that, but he split his legs at the top. You're supposed to keep them tight.
Right.
In order to stay exactly vertical.
Yeah.
But anyway, I love
a leg prayer.
I love the celebration. You asked me if I could do it. I have a soft spot on my head still, so I can't. And you are dressed like you're on a spirit squad. So
there's zero chance. There's zero chance in these short shorts that I'm about to put my up into the air. What do you think this is?
But Elle, all of your viewers a lot of your viewers would enjoy that. I'm just saying.
I don't think that they would.
Okay.
I don't. I'm just going to say I wouldn't. So it doesn't really matter what you think. Yeah.
All right. Valid point. It is your show.
I loved watching Baker Mayfield's reaction to the coin toss in overtime.
I missed that too.
It was so good. As you're looking, he's just like, he knew it was a fait accompli.
Yeah.
That is a fancy way of saying, I already know the ending to the story.
Yeah.
We gave them all the momentum. Everyone now debating on all of the hot take, machines. Should they have gone for 2 and tried to win the game?
Yes.
I mean, I think they panicked right away when they called timeout with 30 seconds left and the ball on the 1 yard line. I was like, why are we doing this? Why would you do this? You need to leave them 0 seconds. Now, ultimately, it didn't end up mattering, although it came close to mattering. But yeah, you cannot. You are the underdog. You're not supposed to win this game. It's raining. You're playing the Chiefs and you're playing the Terminator.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why you've got to go for the kill shot because everyone would say, I totally get why you do that, Todd Bowles, if you go for it and you're unsuccessful.
You have to try to go in a situation where at that point, everything is even.
Yes.
Right. And you have the opportunity to just get up out the paint because you got 80,000 people who, once these Chiefs get the ball, it's going to be 13 against 11. Yeah, you're on the road in a place, hostile environment. And right now, Patrick Mahomes doesn't look Patrick Mahomes like right now going into the game. 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, yet still undefeated. So if you are the Buccaneers who are fighting for the NFC South, you have to just take your shot there. They didn't, and we saw what happens.
Yeah, like Dan Campbell. By the way, I love where we're at. A few years ago, I was like, if this dude doesn't shut the
That was 2 years ago. That was not
a few.
That was not that long ago, Elle. You're like, Dan Campbell's out of his mind.
Yeah.
Bite kneecaps. Yeah. Disgusting. Yeah. This guy's a psycho. Who would want to play for him?
Yeah.
Literally everybody.
Yeah. I was like, this dude's like PC principal from South Park. He's just like, and now I'm using him as a measuring stick. But I'm just saying, like, people can give him for, like really being aggressive and making very bold decisions and choices. But the truth is that he knows his team. And that has bit him in the We've seen it. But at the same time, like, some of these coaches need a little bit more Dan Campbell in them. Stop playing not to lose.
Yeah.
You know the situation. We're all at home going, this is a bad idea, because it all comes down to the coin flip, which is ultimately why Baker Mayfield was like,
So now it's up to the Broncos to be the first team to beat the Kansas City. Hey, listen, I kind of say that half jokingly, but in the division, and did the Broncos get smoked by the Ravens? Yes. Did both of those teams go into that game 5-3, winners of 5 of their last 6? Also, weirdly, yes. Is Bo Nix a better receiver than he is a quarterback? Also, maybe.
Probably.
Yes. But now, okay, we know yesterday, or Sunday rather, being the exception to that the Broncos defense is something nasty. They were on the road to M&T, gave up 41 against the Ravens, but
because that is their weak spot, is they're not great against the run. But to your point, I remember last year, the Chiefs' bottom, like what made everyone believe they were not going to be able to go to a Super Bowl was that they lost to the Broncos.
Sure.
And that is a worse Bronco team than this Bronco team. Listen, Bo Nix is not a guy who you already know is the face of your franchise like Jaden Daniels is. But I think that at this point, like, I'm watching that game yesterday, he was not the reason, or Sunday, he was not the reason that they were losing.
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix. He left a few out there for sure.
Their wild card team? I mean, that like kind of seriously.
I mean, they could be. It just really depends on, again, if they're going to be able to depend on their defense. And I didn't expect them to beat that Ravens team. The Ravens are the best team in the NFL. I think right now, maybe you could go with the Lions as well. I think they're tit for tat. God, that would be an amazing Super Bowl, by the way.
Lions,
just a fun Super Bowl, by the way. But yeah, so listen, as a Broncos fan, I'm not like at this point ready to take a torch to the season like I have been the last 6 straight years. So there it is.
Which is crazy because it's November and usually Elle has the torch lit in September.
100%. After 3 games, I'm like, I'm out. I'm bailing.
Boom.
No matter what, though, even if my team's not great, I'm always here for the beef. So on the other side, we're going to get into it.
Oh, shit. We're getting into the beef.
I'm not going to lie, Gary, I always describe you as like a bit golden doodle-ish, but you just said some real serial killer shit.
Okay, so listen, just stemming off of, I can't stop thinking about the on-air beef, quite literally, that you had. And something about me, like, I want that one time in my life just to experience it, but also at the same time, I'm not confrontational, so I also don't want it. I live in this sort of gray area. Like, depending on what day you ask me out, it's a bit ambiguous. But that kind of inspired me to like have a touch of a falling out. But then I feel like I would take it too far.
Yeah, so I'm not confrontational either, which is why when I find myself in confrontation, I don't know how to handle myself well, and I just explode.
I would probably say some just stuff you can't come back from.
Yeah.
Yes.
Damn. Yeah,
So test me.
Yeah.
YouTube.
Oh, this is
test me,
bad
Twitter.
idea. Don't.
Test me in my Instagram comments one time.
Yeah. You're going to end up like Jason Kelce, having to deal with, okay, so let's
rich and lovable.
Let's address this because everybody knows by now, right? Especially if you're watching this, you've probably seen Jason Kelce and the unruly fan at Penn State. The fan uses a gay slur to besmirch his brother.
Yeah.
Jason Kelce grabs his phone and slams the phone into the ground. Let's stop it at up to that point, which was the first video that we saw. Jason Kelce showed so much more restraint. And to address the people that are like, why is he walking around a bunch of college? Because you have to understand this man's existence.
Correct.
Before he went to another stratosphere of fame.
Sure.
Which is that he was in a town that loved him to death. He could go anywhere. He's Jason Kelce. He is that lovable guy who can go permeate tailgates in Buffalo and they're crashing tables with him. And he's just this affable guy and he's a lovable guy. But what Jason, and so he's allowed to think that he is in a protected, safe space because everywhere that he has gone to this point has been met with a lot of love and adulation for a guy who is very relatable and of the people.
Which, not for nothing, he was in a town in which he won a Super Bowl for that state. Yes, Happy Valley splits the middle between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, but like, it's an extension of Philly, you would assume, right? Like half of those kids at least have to be Go Birds fans and maybe the other half are Steelers fans or whatnot. But at the same rate, you feel like he would have to be. If this was last year, he could walk about with nobody giving him anything but, yo, what up, Kelce?
Yeah, exactly. Right? So for many reasons, a lot of them being, his own success. I'm not just putting this at the feet of his brother dating the most famous person in the world. A lot of his own success. The man's on every commercial you see in football. He's become a huge star. His wife as well. They had a television show. I mean, they're very popular. But Jason Kelce had to learn the thing that all people that reach that level of fame have to learn, which is the clout chasers are coming for you. And they were looking for any opportunity to garner that kind of reaction. And it used to be the paparazzi that would do it, call you names, be really disgusting, wait for an actor to react and attack them so that they could get the film and also sue. And that's exactly where he found himself. And it was a tough place to find himself for the first time because in particular, that guy didn't just call him a bunch of names. He used a slur. And where Jason Kelce was wrong, and he knows it and addressed it yesterday on Monday Night Football, was that he then reciprocated that hate by repeating the word, who's the, F word now? Who's the F word now, right? Out of, you could tell, sheer anger. And also, I think the acknowledgement for Jason Kelce that what he really wanted to do was lay that kid out. He wanted to lay that kid out. And I have certainly been in situations where I wanted to hit someone based on the way that they were treating me, but had to show irrational levels of restraint. And while I would like to believe I would never go there, I know that you just see red, okay?
Correct.
So he addressed that part. But let's normalize clout chasers getting their busted. I'm sick of this.
Sure, we need
like that kid knew exactly what he was doing. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, and you're lucky all he's going to have to do is replace your $500 cell phone. And to the people that keep saying that on Twitter too, well, I mean, Jason Kelce's going to get sued now. For what?
Correct.
For breaking a cell phone. There's not a judge alive that's going to put that anywhere. Pay for the cell phone and keep it moving. But remember, clout chasers, we see you. We know who you are. And one day you're going to around and find out. Ask the dude that fought Cam Newton.
True. whole group of dudes who
A whole
fought
group
Cam
of
Newton.
dudes.
I think, I mean, clout chasers, yes, to an extent, but I think a big audience or a big group of these peoples are the don't know any betters, because a lot of them have grown up on the internet where you can say whatever you want without fear of physical retaliation.
Sure.
Whereas like back in the day, like if you said something about somebody's family, it was, all right, meet me 3:30 at the flagpole. You know, you gotta understand, man, you can't just go up to people and say whatever you feel like saying without any repercussions, unless we continue as a society to not have repercussions for this kind of stuff. It's nuts.
Well, and that's the problem, is that if you are, you know, a clout chaser, or you're a content creator, or you're someone whose value is literally estimated by how many likes and views you get, you are willing to do almost anything. I mean, we've seen these people like die doing clout chasing pictures or videos, because that is how important it is to them to sort of have that affirmation and confirmation that what they're doing is interesting.
Yeah.
And so these young people just like, it was so unnecessary to put yourself in that situation, to use that language, and to attack a man that was just trying to walk through campus.
Yeah.
And until we figure out a way to stop putting value, because that person that did that, I can't even imagine how many views their video has, right? And when they're ultimately pitching themselves to brands and things like that to try to get money and whatnot, they're not going to say, well, these 35 million views came from me doing something abhorrent and egregious. They're going to go, I have 250 million views on my videos and content. And some brand manager is going to go, ooh, he's got reach. And until there is some type of way to stop rewarding this behavior, it's just going to keep going. And fans in general have been absolutely bat crazy. In Jacksonville, the Florida-Georgia game, where these dudes are attacking cops and calling them N-words. It's just absolutely have lost it. I don't know what the solution is to get control back of these fans. And by fans, I mean Drake. What are you doing? You're picking fights with DeMar DeRozan because you can't pick a fight with Kendrick Lamar.
And I heard DeMar's not the one to mess with.
Of course, because you're picking a fight with a man as you stand courtside and he's playing and can't do anything about it. Yeah. It's so weak, Drake. Like, you needed months ago to just disappear for a while and shut the up. And instead, you just keep doing this and making yourself look worse and worse and worse. And then DeMar drops like 35 on him and they win. Did you see how he whispered Europe? Like, he whispered it. Like, he was like,
okay, but on the flip side of that argument, where else is Drake going to be that close to DeMar DeRozan outside of, you know, shooting him a text?
If you a real one, you'll find him.
That's what I'm saying. And he knew that DeMar was going to be there. And listen, I'm not taking Drake's side here.
It sounds like you're taking Drake's side here.
I'm not taking Drake's side here, but like, he showed up. We would be talking about this if like DeMar was in Toronto and Drake didn't show up. Ooh.
You know where Drake wouldn't show up? If DeMar was in the Lakers arena or in the Clippers. Sure. He wouldn't pull that in LA.
Correct.
Would he pull that in Sacktown?
Correct. Well, I'm saying he's got the home crowd behind him.
It's just so it's so whack.
And this stems from DeMar hopping on stage with Kendrick Lamar
and being in the They Not Like Us video.
Being in the video. And
he clearly chose a side.
And
so
being
what?
on stage when it was A minor and they replayed it and replayed it and replayed it. And DeMar was on stage.
Boo hoo.
Okay,
he chose a side. You're so weak. So you're gonna come to where this man plays and call him names when you can do absolutely nothing about it?
Do you think Drake actually has some kind of say because, I mean, he sponsors the team. He sponsors their jerseys. He sponsors their practice facility.
He's got one of those fake titles that they give celebrities.
Do you think he has say when the conversation comes about if we should retire DeMar's jersey?
Oh, well, 100%. He's going to be like, no.
Influence.
Yeah, he's going to be like, no.
That's crazy.
We shouldn't.
Are they going to listen to him?
Probably.
That's crazy.
It depends. If he's still, what is he, like their chief ambassador of fun or some made up bullshit?
He's got that Matthew McConaughey title. Yeah. Professor of culture. He's the professor of culture in Toronto. Yeah.
He's the GM of good times and good vibes.
That's Drake. That's what they call him. That is what they call him. Noted good time and good vibes GM.
We hinted at this, so I do want to get to the Michael Thomas versus Derek Carr.
Yeah, this is weird, man. I don't know what's going on.
So he tweeted his criticism of Derek Carr, calling a play that he made in Sunday's game dangerous, and that he needs to get his flipped because, of course, Chris Olave, the receiver, gets a concussion. He's taken off the field on a stretcher, has to go to the hospital. It was a tough hit. And so Michael Thomas is clearly laying this at the feet of Derek Carr. And is he just upset that he is no longer a Saint? Where do you think this is coming from? And why did you compare him to Antonio Brown, who, by the way, wouldn't just be attacking someone, he'd be throwing conspiracy theories.
Correct. Well,
horrible photoshops.
Okay, the conspiracy theory things, Michael Thomas
are misogynistic and crazy.
Is certainly something that Michael Thomas is throwing out there. Like, yo, we were never cool. This dude is a bum.
That's not a conspiracy theory. He's just telling you he don't like this dude.
I've been trying to tell you guys this. He's getting coaches fired, which, by the way, Dennis Allen was fired after they lost to the 1-win Panthers. I guess I didn't see this thing manifest itself so quickly. I mean, he was a member of the Saints up until this preseason.
Yeah.
Right. And he's been injured. He's been a 9-year guy. This is also a guy who, a 3-time Pro Bowler when Drew Brees was the quarterback. Yeah. So he's obviously seen better times in New Orleans. So I think this is just like a combination of him not seeing the success, him being a victim of the game, passing him at this point, and then Derek Carr sort of being part of that equation of why Michael Thomas isn't the same Michael Thomas who went to 3 straight Pro Bowls when Drew Brees was his quarterback. And he blames some of that injury on, isn't it a toe for Michael Thomas or like lower body injury? A toe's been nagging at him for multiple years. I think the thing that sort of...
He's like a Julio Jones. He just has feet problem.
I think that the thing that sort of maybe gives a little bit of credence to what Michael Thomas is saying is that Chris Olave's brother came out and was like, yo, New Orleans is not it for you. Obviously alluding to, okay, well, if New Orleans isn't it for you, are you talking that the quarterback in New Orleans isn't it for you? So that's kind of strange for me. And then Dennis Allen getting fired. So it's a whole mess in New Orleans after they started 2-0 and were leading the league in offense the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, that thing the wheels have completely unraveled off that thing.
Yeah. But he has a concussion history, Chris Olave. He's had like 5 since his time at Ohio State. So it's not like this is like a new anomaly for him, but obviously getting a couple in the last couple of seasons with the Saints ain't helping.
Well, listen, is some of this a little biased that Michael Thomas is pissed at the Saints? Of course he is. Sure. You know, it's one of those where it's like, this team is trash and they didn't even want me.
Yes.
You know, like, if you wanted to hear great things about the Dallas Cowboys, don't sit next to Des Bryant. I mean, like, I don't, you know, so there's like some of that for sure. But I think in general, and I hinted at it before, I just think that like, because Derek Carr always says the right things at the podium, and like, I don't know what kind of leader he is. If you believe some of his former teammates at their word, and if you look at sort of how the ending happened in the Raiders, he's not all like as like we are the world as he sort of comes off, you know? And like, I do think that there's something to be said for not being able to, you know, galvanize a team, and in particular your receiving core. But hey, like, I personally felt like it was the Falcons' division to lose to begin with, and now it's sort of shaping up that way, despite the fact that the Bucs are still sort of hanging in there. People sort of viewed the Monday night game as like good for the Bucs. They would be a dangerous team if they were healthy because the Chiefs couldn't even beat them in 4 quarters. I still just don't. I don't know. I'm not. When I need Baker to be his best, I'm just not saying it. And trust me when I say that's almost never. I don't. Sports hate Baker. From Oklahoma, Georgia. It's a thing.
I'm a big Baker fan.
Are you? That totally tracks.
What the hell does that mean?
That 100% tracks. We're playing basketball. Women's college basketball's back. I was so excited too because had a little football.
That's a jump shot.
It was horrible. You need to work on your gooseneck.
I made it.
What is the other hand doing? It's like resting on the crease of your arm. Is that how you shoot?
Just like this kind of.
Is that what you think that hand is for? Do you shoot one-handed?
Well, you know what?
Oh no.
Just know it went in.
Baby, you need to watch some USC games to see my girl Juju Watkins so you can pick up some tips.
A little closer to UConn. I think I'm a Husky fan.
Fair.
I think I'm a Husky fan.
Watch my girl
season.
Paige Beckers.
You know it.
I'm super excited. We had a couple of games on Monday to kick off the season officially.
Okay.
We play in France.
You've been famously.
I have famously, not to Paris, which is where they were. That was USC.
Yep.
Juju Watkins, aforementioned. Ryan Rucco, I need to text him because all last year, the dynamic Stanford forward, Kiki Iriafen, is how I thought you said her name. But yesterday, and like everyone called her that. And then yesterday I'm listening to Ryan Rucco and he's like, Kiki Iriafen.
Oh no.
Iriafen.
Did we switch it up?
And I was like, oh, are we switching it up? Because now she's on an even bigger platform. And like now it's like, hey, by the way, you've been saying my. So now I'm gonna have to remember that.
I know. I just programmed Iriafen though last year in my head. This is like another Marshawn moment.
Sure. Yeah.
I can't keep up with these. Iriafen.
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 Area Fen.
Oh, come on, Elle.
Area
You
Fen.
said it 4 different times
I
just now.
know. I'm going to figure it out.
Please, and let me know.
Yeah.
Hit my line.
Well,
Let
like
me
I said,
know.
I too had committed to Kiki Iriafen. I thought it was great. Like I used to work it in as puns too.
Yeah.
Like how Kiki Iriafen do you come here?
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, and so now I'm having, my brain's in a pretzel too, Gary.
Kiki, do you love me?
Kiki
Are we
Iriafen.
riding? Da-na-na-na-na-na. Oh, wait, we're not doing Drake. My
No,
bad.
we're not doing
Sorry,
Drake.
my bad.
Drake is
Forgot.
done.
That was a couple segments ago.
But we saw USC beat Ole Miss, but Ole Miss gave them a heck of a time.
Okay.
Juju Watkins went off. And then we saw the number 1 defending champ, South Carolina.
South Kakalaki.
Facing Michigan, also tested early
They
on.
had some hitters out there in France, huh?
Yeah, they had. Well, they weren't in France. They were here in the
Paris.
States.
Oh, okay, got
They
it.
were not. They were just here.
We are back stateside,
Yeah, they were
everybody. Just so you
stateside.
know, get your little passport. We're back.
Chloe Kitts was fantastic. She's someone to watch too. Everybody's talking about the South Carolina team and like handicapping their chances to go for a second straight title and what that would look like. And it's really going to be the continued emergence of Tessa Johnson, the freshman from last year who was huge in the national championship game, and her growth. And Chloe Kitts as well, who every single year has just gotten better and better. She's going to have to take on a bigger role. And she did. She led the team. I think she had 19 points in that game as they held on to beat Michigan. But she said afterwards exactly what I knew as I was watching it. She was like, we did not play well. This is going to be the worst that we'll play all year long. We still came out with a win,
That's
which
trouble.
is good.
They got
but
like 40 games ahead of them.
Right.
That's trouble for the rest of the 39 teams.
Correct.
So the biggest question isn't how you replace Camila Cardoso?
Sure it is, but they've got
Okay.
Joyce Edwards, who's
Sure.
a dynamic freshman as well. And again, how much she's going to be able to come along and how much
Okay.
they're going to be able to lean on her. She was the number 2 prospect in the country. So, listen, the future is always bright. Like South Carolina to basketball is sort of like Alabama to football under
Sure.
Saban, where they just reload. And
Yeah.
because they're all the sum of their parts, like, they've got 2 starting 5s on that team. So they're going to be in good shape. But yes, finding who's going to be that person at the end of the game to take the rock and put it on their back. Last night it was Bree Hall. Like who it's going to be is definitely going to be something that they're going to be sorting out this year. And don't be disappointed if they're not undefeated. Like it's okay to lose a game.
27 first place votes. They are the top team according to the AP, followed by UConn, who is number 2. They got
Yep.
2 first place votes. USC
Yep.
rounds out the AP top
Yeah.
25.
Mhm.
Somebody voted them, probably somebody out west voted them top 10 all line. We are going to be talking heavily, certainly,
Oh, 100%.
about those 3 teams. I had a question about Dawn Staley. Oh, have we seen, and maybe it's too early to tell, obviously, since the season just started, have we seen NIL start creeping into its way into women's basketball
Absolutely.
and affecting your perennial powers, like the teams that we just saw, either
100%.
getting players from, like bench players from those teams to other squads, and obviously them being able to pay top dollar for top tier talent?
I think that's the difficult part is that it's like really where they're struggling is with the depth players.
Yes.
Who are sort of like, if you don't really know what my role is going to be anyway here, I'll just take more money over here.
Facts.
And when you have a legacy program like Dawn does, a lot of times they just sort of assume like people just want to come here because they want to compete.
Correct.
But that's not really the world we're living anymore. So undoubtedly, we've definitely seen that come into play. But I still think that because as much parity as we have now in women's college basketball, especially comparatively during UConn's run, there's still like we've never had anything lower than a 3 seed win.
Mhm.
Like there's still only
Correct.
a real handful of teams that are going to give you a legitimate chance to win a national championship. And so I still think that is like the presiding rule at this point, and not just the money, because it is important, especially when you're talking about the W that doesn't have a ton of roster spots or roster availability, that you're playing on these juggernauts that are getting national, TV games and things like that. So it's not as pervasive, because I still think that most of these women are motivated by playing for these 16 or so teams that give you a real shot at winning.
But it's going to become definitely more of a talking point when you're like, do I want to be a fringe rotational person on South Carolina, or do I want to be a starter, like even in the SEC, a starter at Mississippi State?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
they're going to pay me more.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, you would want to go.
Yeah.
You would want to go play for Sam Purcell. He's a fun coach.
Come on.
Mississippi State. Check him out. That could be your team.
Sounds like it is.
Hey, we love
Go
that
Dogs.
you love that we're on our
Go
team. No, they
Dogs.
don't get to take that. It's go Bulldogs.
Go Dogs.
We always appreciate that you're on our team. Remember to review and subscribe, comment, do all that. Tell people about the show.
Boom.